Hi, you're probably here watching this video because you watched a video on Provost Park Pass. I said I was going to talk about government and taxes and how complex it is and how they keep taking our money and it's a big kind of a scam type of thing. Yeah, let's do that. That's what this other channel's for. I can talk about whatever I want. You can subscribe if you want. This is just mostly about like Hot Wheels and pinball and taxes and just kind of things I want to talk about outside the realm of travel and Disney. All right, before we get started, I just want to say this. This is an incredibly complex subject. So, I'm sure there are people out there who are watching this who know way more than I do, and we'd love to have your input if you want to put it down in the comments down below. And another thing is, I'm doing a little bit of generalization here. So don't get angry. Don't be like, that's not exactly how it works. Yes, I know, but this is just a teaching tool environment, okay? Now, generally, the government, let's talk about Republicans and Democrats. This is just a like a blanket statement. Generally, Democrats, they kind of like to raise taxes because they want the government to have more money so they can do more with that, the government can do more programs. Republicans usually like to lower the taxes because they want to give money back to the people. That's important to kind of understand. And here's what I want to show you. I want to show you this I made a little graph. This is what most people think taxes are like in the United States, and it's a lie. Right here is the percent of the government is going to tax us, right? How much they're going to tax you. So like down here is like if they tax us to 0, that's 0%. This would be up here, would be 100%. This here is how much money the government is taking away, how much money the government is taking from us. Now, a lot of people believe it's like a linear line. Like the higher they tax us, the more money the government is going to get. That is a lie. This is not true. This does not work at all. This is. I think the government actually wants us to think like that, but that's not how this works. This is how it works. Think of it as a bell curve. Look at this right here. This is how it works. I want you to think of it like here, like as a little bell curve, make sure there's no reflection there. Okay, so right down here, this is how much money the government is receiving from us. The more farther out this way, the more money the government is getting, okay? This here is how the percentage that the government is taxing us. So, for example, if the government taxes us at 0%, there was no taxes, then the government would make no money. See that? If the government taxes at 100%, then they're not going to make any money either, because at that point, who would work? Nobody would go to work anymore because 100% of your paycheck goes to the government. You wouldn't go to work anymore, and they know that, so they don't tax us that much. But what they do know is this. There is a sweet spot. There is a sweet spot, and if they tax the general population in this sweet spot, the government is going to get the most amount of money it can, and the government is greedy, and it wants a lot of money right here. So it's really about, let me open this up here. It's really about, I think it's like 38.5% down to I think 32%. If the government is taxing us between 32 and 38.5%, they're going to be taking the most amount of money home for them. Okay, that's what they're going to try to do. So this is like this constant game that we see in politics, and I get tired of watching it. I just kind of roll my eyes because this is exactly what they're doing. Like, so a Republican will come along and say, "Okay, you guys, elect me. I'm going to lower your taxes. I'm going to lower your taxes." And that Republican gets elected, and the taxes right then were like 35% right here, and that Republican lowers the taxes down to 34%. And then a Democrat gets elected, and they're like, "Hey, I'm going to raise our taxes a little bit, but we'll have more programs going." And they're going to raise our taxes to like 37%. And then a Republican gets elected, and they lower their taxes down to 33%. And then a Democrat gets elected, and they raise the rates a little bit. They raise it up to maybe 38% right there. And then a Republican gets elected, and they lower it down to 35%. And then that Republican's elected again, and they lower it down to 33%. Do you see what's happening? They never get outside of this band, ever, because that's where all the money's coming in. Like, so like if, for example, if a Republican really got into office and it's like, "Hey guys, I'm going to lower everybody's taxes down to a flat tax. Everybody's going to pay 17% across the board, and that's going to put us right there. Look how much the government's going to get a lot less money." And so they're not going to ever vote for that. And then all same thing, like if a Democrats like, "Hey, you guys, if we paid 45% taxes, I know it's a lot, but we can do so much more with the government. We could be able to take care of all of this and end all of this homelessness and feed everybody." Then they're going to be like right there. They're going to get less money. They get way less money. So they play this little shell game where they keep raising our taxes and lowering our taxes and raising our taxes and lowering taxes, but it's always within this band. It's always within this band. I think you go back like the last 70 years, we've never deviated off of this band, ever. Because the government knows they have to they get the most amount of money they can. They have to be here in that little area. And so it's a mathematics thing. It's like they know how to prime us to get the most amount of money out of us. It's this band here. So whenever you hear things, people talking about, we're going to do this or do this, just know that they're going to raise our money and they're going to lower our taxes, and it'll always probably be within this band. This is a very simplified thing, but kind of explaining about like taxes and whatnot, but it's not really that far off. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your comments down below. So like, I think a lot of people are getting spun up. They get all angry about this, but it's all within this. I remember learning this like 30 years ago when I was in my grad school, and my professor, he'd been in the House of Representative. He was a representative. He was retired, and he's the one that sat down on his whiteboard and showed me this. And he's like, Chris, this is what's going on. He's like, you've got to wake up and see this. And I was like, what? And then after that, I started doing my own research. I was like, oh yeah, yep. So that is what's going on. Love to hear you guys' comments on it. And this is just like a constructive forum for you guys to talk about that. But it's not a linear path going straight up diagonally like a lot of people think about. The government knows exactly what they're doing. They know exactly how much they can tax us so they can get the most amount of money.